A foul stench spread over me, and when I looked closely, I realized the person who had thrown eggs at me was Camila. Seeing my disheveled state, the streamers sneered. She looks so quiet and demure, yet she's out there being a mistress. How shameless. Exactly. Nowadays, young girls don't want to work hard. They'd rather sleep with men 20 years older than them just to live a good life. It's a sad world we live in. Hearing the commotion, neighbors gathered at my place, holding up their phones to record me, their faces filled with contempt. I sighed in frustration, pulled out a tissue to wipe the filth from my head, and said coldly, "You're Camila, right? I'm Vanessa Stewart, from your dorm. You must have mistaken me for someone else. I don't know your father, so how could I possibly be his mistress? Since you're my roommate, I won't hold this against you. Just take these people and leave." When Camila transferred to our class, my dad specifically told me to look out for her, but since I kept a low profile at school and was already interning at a company when she joined, we barely interacted. Now, knowing that her father had a mistress, I saw her as a victim too. Out of respect for my dad, I wasn't planning to make a big deal out of this, but instead of calming down, Camila only yelled louder after hearing my words. "What? You have the nerve to be a mistress to a man decades older than you, but not the guts to admit it?" She pulled out her phone and shoved a video in my face. "These are the proofs of you being my dad's mistress. You've got no shame, selling yourself for some dirty money." I looked closely and realized that the so-called evidence was a video of my dad, Peter Thomas, picking me up in a Maybach. It was my birthday that day, and he had come to pick me up from the school gate with a large bouquet of white roses and a designer handbag that I loved. I was so happy that I gave him a big hug before even getting into the car. But at this moment, I suddenly realized that the dad Camila was referring to was none other than my own dad, Peter, and the mistress she was talking about was actually me. The truth is, Peter isn't my biological father. My real dad passed away when I was very young. My mom married Peter because kids at school used to bully me, calling me fatherless bastard. Before they married, Peter signed an agreement stating that he willingly married into our family and wasn't after our money. Since he treated me well, my mom accepted him. It wasn't until my mom was in a car accident that I found out the truth. But by then, I had already come to see Peter as my real dad. So even though we weren't related by blood, after my mom passed away, I still instructed my lawyer to transfer $1 million to him every month for living expenses. But I never imagined that he had already secretly started a new family while my mom was still alive and even had a daughter. If he wanted to start a new family, I could understand that. But why did he betray my mom while she was still with him? Suppressing my anger, I said coldly, "Camila, I suggest you look into what my relationship with Peter really is, or you won't be able to handle the consequences of this." Camila rolled her eyes. "What's there to check? My parents were always happy together until you little bitch came along and made my dad change his heart. You think you're something just because you're young? That's the only reason my dad fell for you. You're not even worth one of my mom's toenails." The streamers joined in, mocking me. "Yeah, looking all pure and innocent, but you're selling yourself instead, and to your roommate's dad, who could be your own father. How shameless." "Innocent? She's just pretending. That look might fool some old men, but not us." Feeling empowered by their support, Camila picked up a porcelain plate from the table and smashed it on the ground. As the pieces shattered, her expression grew more smug. "The one thing I despise most is women who get kept by rich men. Women like this are a blight on society and should be shot." With that, she pulled out a can of spray paint from her bag and sprayed 4 blood-red words on my front door. "Mistress, go die." Staring at the words on the door, I looked coldly at Camila and said, "Camila, you'll soon find out who those words are really meant for." Hearing this, Camila rushed at me, yelling curses. "You shameless slut. You get kept by my dad, and now you're being all sarcastic? I'll shut that mouth of yours." She raised her arm to slap me, but I grabbed her wrist and shoved her aside in frustration. "I'm warning you, get these people out of my house now, or I'll call the police and have you charged with trespassing." Camila looked at me in disbelief. "A mistress like you dares to talk back to me? I've seen shameless people, but never someone as shameless as you."